Greetings! Mantoray79 here, and welcome back to another deck profile video for Cardfight Vanguard Deer Days! Alright, let's get started. Press the A button now. Loading game and proceeding. Here we are in the main menu. We'll go into edit deck menu. And now in today's video, the deck profile I'm going to be making one for is a Dark States, Purgatory, Dragon, Deity, Favrneel, D-BT05. And now entering no data, create new deck. And here, selecting nation, selecting Dark States. And here we are in the edit deck menu. And like I just mentioned before, the deck I'm building for this deck profile video is a Dark States, Purgatory, Dragon, Deity, Favrneel deck, made up of cards only available up until D-BT05. So first, let's go to filter settings, pack, show only cards from D-BT01, Genesis of the 5 Greats, D-BT02, A Brush with the Legends, D-BT03, Advance of Intertwined Stars, D-BT04, Awakening of Chakrabarti, D-BT05, Triumphant Return of Brave Heroes, Festival Collection 2021, and Pro Pack number 1, apply filter. Okay. And now let's first start with the Grade 3 lineup. For the Grade 3 this deck, we're playing Ride Deck, Grade 3, Purgatory, Dragon, Deity, Favrneel. Skills for skill, continuous. You may have only up to one Purgatory, Dragon, Deity, Favrneel in your deck. Second skill, auto as a Vanguard. At the beginning of your main phase, your opponent chooses one of your rear guards and retire it. And if you did not ride this turn, this unit gets plus 10,000 power and plus 1 critical. Third skill, auto as a Vanguard. When your opponent's rear guard is retired during your turn, put a card from your hand to your soul. If the cost is paid, draw a card. Fourth skill, auto as a Vanguard once per turn. At the end of the battle, this unit attacked. If the sum of the grades of Dark States cards in your soul is 13 or more, counterblast 2. If the cost is paid, stand this unit. It gets drive -1 until end of turn. So for Favrneel, it's the main Grade 3 to run its deck. Its skills, the second skill. At the beginning of your main phase, your opponent chooses one of your rear guards, retires it, and if you do not ride that turn, your Vanguard gets plus 10,000 power plus 1 critical. So for the second skill, it's not only a good way to force your opponent to retire one of their own rear guards, but if you do not ride a new Vanguard during that turn, your Vanguard Favrneel gets plus 10,000 power plus 1 critical, making it easier to potentially pressure or finish off your opponent with the extra power and critical. So second skill, a good way to wipe out opponent's rear guards and to give power and critical to your Vanguard. Third skill, when your opponent's rear guards retire during your turn, cost by putting a card from your hand to your soul, you can draw a card. So for this third skill, as long as you manage to retire an opponent's rear guard, you can put one card from your hand to your soul and draw a card, making this skill a good way to not only stock up your soul, but to also draw an extra card. And the best part about this third skill, it combos with the second skill. For the second skill of Favrneel, forces your opponent to retire one of their own rear guards during the main phase, allowing you to almost always be able to activate the third skill of putting a card to your soul and drawing a card. And so the third skill, a good way to fill up your soul and draw a card. And the fourth skill, at the end of the turn, at the end of the battle, this unit attacked. If the sum of the grades of your Dark States cards in your soul exceeds 13 or more, by paying the counterblast of 2 and minusing your Vanguard's drive +1 by -1, you can restand your Vanguard Favrneel for another attack. So for this fourth skill, as long as you manage to meet the conditions, your Vanguard, you can attack twice with your Vanguard Favrneel as long as you can meet the conditions and pay the cost. And so for Purgatory, Dragon, Deity, Favrneel, we got putting one in the right deck. There we go. Next up, the Grade 3. The Grade 3, Time Jared Dragon. Skill, auto. When this unit is placed on the rearguard circle, cost, put a card from your hand to your soul, draw a card. So for Time Jared Dragon, it's a pretty good card to play in your Dark States Nations decks. Just by calling it to the rearguard, you can place any card from your hand to your soul and draw a card. So for Time Jared, it's a good way to not only stock up your soul, but to also increase your options by letting you draw more cards. So for Time Jared Dragon, we're putting 3 into the deck. Okay, next up, the Grade 3. Normal order, Pandemonium Tactics. Skill, order, plays with a counterblast of 1. If the cost is paid, soul charge 4. Then if you're in final rush, perform all of the following according to the number of cards in your soul. 6 or more cards, draw a card. 8 or more cards, all of your front row units gets plus 10,000 power at the end of turn. 12 or more cards, choose one of your Vanguards, it gets plus 1 critical until end of turn. So for Pandemonium Tactics, it's an order card mainly meant to be played with the Bruce build, but it can also be used with any Dark States Nations build that focuses on having a high number of cards in your soul. Though you cannot activate the effects that require Final Rush, you can still gain the Soul Charge 4 from the first effect of playing this order card. which is a good way to stock up your soul for later soul blast or to activate Favrneel's skill of requiring you to have a high number of grades in your Vanguard soul. So for Pandemonium Tactics, we're playing 4 in the deck. Okay, next up, the grade 3. Execution Dragon, Vorpal Scythe Dragon, skill for skill, action as a rear guard once per turn. Soul Blast 2, if the cost and paid, choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. Second skill, auto as a rear guard. When this unit attack hits, you may Soul Charge 2. So for Vorpal Scythe Dragon, it's a pretty good card to play in your Dark Space Station decks. Its first skill, just by paying a Soul Blast of 2, you can retire any of your opponent's rear guards. So for the first skill, a good way to wipe out your opponent's rear guards. And the second skill, as long as your Vorpal Scythe Dragon's attack hits on either an opponent's Vanguard or rear guard, you can Soul Charge 2. So for this second skill, it's a good way to build up your soul for later soul blasts or to increase the number of cards in your soul that require you to activate certain skills. For example, Favrneel's skill of having a high number of grades in your Vanguard soul. This second skill will really help out your Vanguard get those cards in your soul. And so for Execution Dragon, Vorpal Scythe Dragon, we're putting 4 into the deck. Okay. And now for the grade 2 lineup. For the grade 2 to this deck, we're playing. For the grade 2 to this deck, we're playing, let's see. Ride deck, grade 2, Diablos Anger Richard, skills for skill, auto. When this unit is placed on the Vanguard circle, cost, put a rear guard into your soul. If the cost and paid, draw a card. Any second skill, continuous as a rear guard. If you are in Final Rush, this unit gets plus 5,000 power. So for Richard, it's the main grade 2 to ride this deck. It's for a skill. Just by riding onto the Vanguard circle, by putting any one of your rear guards into your soul, you can draw a card. So for this first skill, it's a good way to not only build up your soul, but to also increase your hand by letting you draw an extra card. And the second skill requires you to be in Final Rush, which is not a ability available in this deck, so just skipping ahead. For the Diablos Anger Richard, we're putting 1 in the deck, putting in the right deck. Okay. Next up, the grade 2. Selfish Engraver, skills for skill, auto as a rear guard. When this unit attack hits, you can Soul Charge 1, second skill, auto as a rear guard. At the end of the battle, this unit attacked. If your soul has 10 or more cards, cost, put this unit into your soul. If the cost and paid, counter charge 1. So for Selfish Engraver, which is a very powerful card to play in any of your Dark Space Station's decks. For first skill, whenever your rear guard Selfish Engraver lands an attack on either your opponent's Vanguard or rear guard, you can Soul Charge 1. So for this first skill, it's a good way to build up your soul for later soul blast or to build up the number of cards in your soul. And the second skill, after attacking, if you have 10 or more cards in your soul, as long as you don't mind moving your rear guard Selfish Engraver into your soul, you can counter charge 1. So for the second skill, as long as you meet the conditions, it's not only a good way to build up your soul, but to also refund your counter blast for later skills. So for the grade 2, Selfish Engraver, we're putting 4 into the deck. Okay, next up, the grade 2, Steam Mage Ashurda, skills for skill, continuous as a guardian. If your soul has 7 or more cards, this unit gets plus 5,000 shield. Second skill, auto. When this unit is retired from the guardian circle, you may put this card into your soul. So for Ashurda, it's a pretty decent card to play in your Dark Space Station's decks. It's for a skill. When used to guard with, while you have 7 or more cards in your soul, you'll be able to give your guarding Ashurda plus 5,000 shield. So for this first skill, as long as the conditions have been met, Ashurda can serve as a potential 10,000 point shield on its own. Second skill, when this unit is retired from the guardian circle, you may put this in your soul. So whenever you use Ashurda to guard an attack, at the end of the guard, you'll be able to move Ashurda to your soul instead of the rear guard. So for the second skill, just by guarding with Ashurda, you'll be able to secure more cards into your soul for later soul blasts or to simply build up your soul for required skills, like for example, Favrneel's skill. So for Steam Mage Ashurda, we're putting 4 into the deck, okay? And next up, the Great 1 lineup. For the Great 1 to this deck, we're playing... Let's see, for the Great 1 to this deck, we're using Ride deck, Great 1, Diablos Bad Steve, skills for skill, auto. When this unit is placed on the Vanguard circle, choose a card from your soul, call to the back row center rear guard circle and soul charge 1. Second skill, continuous as a rear guard. If you are in Final Rush, this unit gets plus 5,000 power. So for Diablos Bad Steve, it's the main Great 1s around this deck. It's for a skill. Just by riding Steve to your Vanguard, you can choose any card from your soul and call to the rear guard circle in the back row center column, and soul charge 1. So for this first skill, it's a good way to secure a booster from the back row for your upcoming Vanguard attack, and to also build up your soul for later soul blast, and to also build up your soul to require you to have a high number of to require you to activate any skills that require a high number of cards to your soul, like Favrneel. Any second skill, continuous as a rear guard. If you're in Final Rush, do sneakers plus 5,000 power. So the second skill requires you to be in Final Rush. So that's a skill not available in this game, so just skipping ahead. For Diablo's Bad Steve, we're putting 1 in the right deck. Okay, next up, the Great One. Steam Battler, Gungram, skills for skill, auto. When this unit is placed on the rear guard circle, soul charge 1. Second skill, action as a rear guard once per turn. Cost, soul blast 3. If the cost is paid, draw a card. So for Gungram, it's a pretty powerful card to play in your Dark State Station's decks. The first skill, when placed on the rear guard circle, you can soul charge 1. So for this first skill, just by calling Gungram to your rear guard, you can soul charge 1, making this first skill a good way to build up your soul for later soul blast or to activate skills that require you to have a high number of cards to your soul. And second skill, just by paying a soul blast of 3, you can draw a card. So for the second skill, as long as you don't mind paying the cost, you can draw more cards. So for Gungram, we're putting 4 into the deck. Okay, next up, the Great One. Recusal Hate Dragon, Sentinel, Perfect Guard, skills for skill, Continuous Sentinel. You may have only up to 4 cards of Continuous Sentinel in your deck. Second skill, auto. When this unit is placed on the Guardian Circle, choose one of your units. It cannot be hit until end of battle. If your hand has 2 more cards, choose a card from hand, discard it. So for Recusal Hate Dragon, it's a perfect guard for the Dark States Nation. Like any other perfect guard in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation. When used to guard with and discarding a card from hand, you can block one enemy attack. But it also features an ability unique to all D standard format perfect guards. When used to guard with while you have less than 2 cards in hand, you will not have to pay the usual discard 1 cost, making Recusal Hate a no-cost perfect guard in desperate last resort situations. So for Recusal Hate Dragon, we're putting 4 into the deck. Okay, next up, the Great One. For the Great One, we're putting in, let's see. For the Great One, we're putting in Brainwash Swirler, skills for skill, auto. When this unit is placed on the rear guard, soul charge 1. Second skill, auto as a rear guard. When your card is put into your soul by soul charge, if your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, this unit gets plus 5,000 power until end of turn, plus 10,000 if its soul charge is 2. So for Brainwash Swirler, it's a pretty powerful card to play in your Dark State Nation's decks. It's for skill, just by calling to the rear guard, you can soul charge 1. So this first skill is the same as Steam Battler Gungram. Just by calling to the rear guard, you can soul charge 1, thus making it easier to build up your soul for later soul blast or to achieve a high number of cards to your soul to activate certain skills like Favrneel's. And the second skill, as a rear guard, whenever you soul charge a card, if your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, your rear guard Brainwash Swirler gets plus 5,000 power. So for the second skill, it's a very powerful offensive skill. As long as you meet the conditions, every time you soul charge, you can build up more power to Brainwash Swirler. And the best part is, this skill is stackable, so for every time you soul charge, you can just keep stacking more power into Brainwash Swirler, making Brainwash Swirler a potential powerful attacker from your front row or powerful booster from the back row. So for Brainwash Swirler, we're putting 4 into the deck. Okay, next up, the Grade 0 lineup. For the Grade 0s of this deck, we're playing Grade 0, right deck, Grade 0, Uncanny Burning, skill, auto. When this unit is written upon, if you went second, draw a card. So for Uncanny Burning, it's the starting unit in this deck. Just by riding on top of it, if you went second, draw a card. So for Uncanny Burning, we're putting 1 in the deck, putting in the right deck. Okay, next up, let's see. For the trigger lineup, we're playing the Grade 0, Flippy Slasher, critical trigger. We're putting 3 into, no wait, playing 4 in the deck. Okay, next up, the Grade 0, Stem Deviate Dragon, critical trigger, skill, auto as a rear guard. At the end of the battle, this unit boosted. Cost, put this unit into your soul. If the cost is paid, choose one of your units. It gets plus 2,000 power until end of turn. So for Stem Deviate, it's a powerful critical trigger to play in your Dark State Nations decks. Its skill, after boosting attack, regardless if the attack hits or not, as long as you don't mind moving Stem Deviate from your rearguard to your soul, you can give one of your remaining units, your Vanguard or rearguard, plus 2000 power. So for Stem Deviate, it's a good way to not only build up your soul for later Soul Blast, but to also give your remaining attackers a little extra power to work with. So for Stem Deviate Dragon, we're putting 4 into the deck, okay? Next up, the Grade 0, Diablos Girls, Natalia, front trigger, skill, continuous as a guardian. If your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, this unit gets plus 5000 shield. So for Natalia, she's a powerful front trigger to play in your Dark State Nations decks. Her skill, when used to guard with while your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, she gets plus 5000 shield, making Natalia a potential 20,000 point shield all on her own. So for Diablos Girls Natalia, we're putting 3 into the deck. Okay, next up, the Grade 0, Incorruptible Holy Light Afua, PO trigger, skill, auto. When this unit is placed on the Guardian Circle, if your opponent's attacking unit has attacked 2 or more times this turn, this unit gets plus 15,000 shield until end of battle. Activate if this battle is its second attack this turn or more. So for Afua, she's a powerful heal trigger to play in your Dark State Station decks. Her skill, when used to guard against an attacking unit who has attacked 2 or more times in the same turn, she gets plus 15,000 shield, making Afua a potential 25,000 point shield all on her own. So for Incorruptible Holy Light Afua, we're putting 2 into the deck. Okay, next up, the Grade 0, Steam Scara, Malnigal, heal trigger, putting 2 in the deck. And then finally, 1 Grade 0, Hades Dragon, DD Resentment, Gamma Shell, over trigger, skill trigger, additional effect. You get during your turn, all of your Vanguards gets plus 10,000 power and plus 1 critical until end of the fight. So for Gamma Shell, it's a over trigger for the Dark State Nation. Like any other over trigger in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation. When revealed during a drive check or damage check, you get 100 million power and draw a card, but it also features a skill unique to it alone. Its skill, when revealed during a drive check on your turn, for the rest of the fight, during your turn, your Vanguard gets plus 10,000 power and plus 1 critical. So for Gamma Shell, it's an over trigger that's best used the earlier you reveal it in a fight during your turn. For the moment you reveal it during a drive check on your turn, for the remainder of the fight, your Vanguard gets plus 10,000 power and plus 1 critical, making it easier to potentially pressure or finish off your opponent with the increased power and critical. So for Hades Dragon, DD Resentment, Gamma Shell, we're putting 1 into the deck, okay? Hold on, deck is overloaded. Let's see. Got 3 Time Jarrets, 4 Pandemonium Tactics, 4... Wait. Vorpal Scythe Dragon, taking 1 out, okay? Deck's been built, Cardfight explains, let's just save the deck. Deck's been saved, so for the cards in this deck, we're playing 3 Grade 3 Time Jarret Dragon, 4 Grade 3 Pandemonium Tactics, 3 Grade 3 Execution Dragon, Vorpal Scythe Dragon, 1 Grade 3 Purgatory Dragon Deity, Favrneel, 4 Grade 2 Selfish Engraver, 4 Grade 2 Steam Mage, Ashurda, 1 Grade 2 Diablos Anger, Richard, 4 Grade 1 Steam Valor, Gungram, 4 Grade 1 Recusal Hate Dragon, 4 Grade 1 Brainwash Swirler, 1 Grade 1 Diablos Bad, Steve, and 1 Grade 0 Uncanny Burning, start a unit. And for the triggers of this deck, we're playing 8 critical triggers, 3 front triggers, 4 heal triggers, and 1 over trigger, Gamma Shell. Alright, deck's been built, Cardfight explained. Now let's just rename the deck. For the deck, we're renaming it Hold on. Favrneel. Okay. Is that the correct spelling? Hold on, here. Favrneel, Favrneel. Yep, that's correct. And now let's just change deck sleeves. For sleeves, let's see. Change sleeves. For the main deck sleeves, I'm going to be using the Dark Destination sleeves as the main deck sleeve. Press A. And for the right deck sleeves, we're using the Team Berserk sleeve as the right deck sleeve. Press Y. Alright, decks built, card press explain, and deck rename and card sleeves change. Now it's time to test out the deck, so leaving the edit deck menu, returning to main menu, going to fight menu, selecting CPU fight, and choosing the deck I just built, the D-BT05 Favrneel deck. Alright, selecting deck, and now choosing an opponent. Okay, who would be a good opponent to test that out on? Let's see. I guess for my opponent to use this deck out on, I'm gonna test it out on Taiji Arakawa, normal difficulty. And the battle begins, let's get started. And entering the fight, here we are, deciding who goes first. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Scissors the rock, I lose, going second, okay. Drawing our starting hands, I got a Brainwash Swirler, a Perfect Guard, a Critical, a Shurta, and another Brainwash, okay. Gotta hold on to the normal units to use their skills to build up my soul, and the Perfect Guard to guard with, so just return one trigger back, redraw. Time Jarrett, not bad. Alright, stand up the Vanguard. My opponent's going first, he rides. Eva, the Great One, skill up the Great One, he searches his deck for set order, experiment successful, add to hand. And that's the end of my opponent's turn. It's my turn. I stand and draw. I ride for my right deck, Diablo's Bad Steve. And for the right deck cards, let's see. Okay, I gotta hold on to the Perfect Guard and the Brainwash Swirlers to build up my soul. So a Shurta can also be a decent shield as well. So my choices are to ditch either Engraver or Time Jarrett. I guess I'll drop Time Jarrett to hold on to another Great 2, so I drop Time Jarrett Dragon to ride, Diablo's Bad Steve, Uncanny Burning Skill, I draw one card, the card I drew was a Critical, and then Steve's skill, I Superior Call a card from my soul to the rear guard, I call Uncanny Burning to the rear guard, call, skill, Soul Charge 1, I Soul Charge Great 2 Uncanny Selfish Engraver, not bad. Next I call Brainwash Swirler to the rear guard, call, skill of Swirler, Soul Charge 1, I Soul Charge a Great 1, not bad. Okay, think that's enough. Go into battle phase. First up, my Swirler attacks the Vanguard, 8k, the attack goes through, and boom, 1 damage. Damage check, no trigger, safe. Now boosted by Uncanny Burning, my Vanguard, Steve attacks the Vanguard, 14k. Does the attack go through? Yep, it goes through. Drive check. Ah, front trigger. Wasted a trigger. Okay, trigger effect wasted. And 1 damage. Boom. Damage check. No trigger. Safe. And that's the end of my turn. My opponent's turn. My opponent's riding the Great 2, Eva. Skill of the Great 2. Searches his deck for set order. Experiment successful. And adds it to hand. Okay. He deploys Experiment Successful to his order zone. And, okay, activating his skill. Drop and draw. Vanguard to Vanguard. Okay. Should conserve my hand, so let the first attack go through. No guard. Here it comes. Drive check. Ah, draw trigger. Come on. He draws 1 card, adds power, then 1 damage. Ow. Damage check. No trigger. Time Jarrett. Alright, that's the end of my opponent's turn. My turn, stand and draw. Okay, I'm gonna ride for my right deck, Diablo's Anger Richard. For the right deck cost, let's see. Gotta hold on to the normal units to attack and boost with. And the Perfect Guard to guard with, such as I should just ditch one of the triggers in my hand. Let's see, Euphia is only effective when my opponent attacks twice or more of the same unit. I don't think the Eva deck plays any restated units, so I'll just ditch the Great Zero heal trigger, Euphia, for the right deck cost. I ride the grade 2 Richard skill. I move a rear guard to the soul. I move Uncanny Burning to my soul. And I draw a card. I drew another front trigger. Ah, come on. I move Brainwash Swirler to the back and call to the rear guard. Selfish Engraver, call. And I call Assured to the rear guard, call. Alright, that should be enough. So going to battle phase. First up, Assured attacks the Vanguard, 10k. He guards with a draw trigger, 15k. The attack is blocked. Alright, then next up, boosted. Nope, my Vanguard's going to attack the Vanguard, 10k. The attack goes through and drive check. Yes, heal trigger. I cannot heal, but I can give power to my rear guard Engraver. Plus 10,000 power. And 1 damage to my opponent. Boom. Damage check. Ah, critical. Come on. He adds the power and effects to his Vanguard, so 20k now. Boosted by Brainwash Swirler. Selfish Engraver attacks the Vanguard, 28k. Will the attack go through? Yes, the attack goes through, and boom! 1 damage. Damage check. No trigger, safe. And now my Engraver skill. I can Soul Charge 1. I Soul Charge a... Come on, grade 3. Grade 3, yes! Nice! Alright, my opponent's turn. He rides the grade 3 Fountain of Knowledge Eva to his Vanguard. Next, he's deploying another set order. Experiment successful. Deploying the order zone. Skill, he drops and draws. Okay. His Vanguard skill. Adding power. Calling the rear guard up skill lead and another up skill lead and the bubble mine. Okay. Okay. Skill, adding more power. Okay, that's a lot of power. 26k, so alright, the Vanguard's at 18k, rear guard's at 13, but can add another potential 10,000 or 5,000, so I guess I should let the first attack go through and see how the rest goes. Let the attack go through, no guard. And out. Damage check. Yes, front trigger, just what I needed. Power to my front row. Now here, Bubble Mine skill, it goes to the soul and counter charge 1. Vanguard to Vanguard. His Vanguard skill. He's going to Superior Call another attacker, okay. No guard, 1 trigger to pass. It's going to drive for check. Ah, come on, critical, this timing. Ah. Now it breaks through, and second check. Oh, come on, another critical, seriously? Why now with this timing? Now 3 damage is going to come to me. Here it comes. He's throwing all that chemistry equipment at me and boom, ow! Damage check first. No trigger. And second check. No trigger. Come on, something good. Third check. Ah, no trigger, come on! Alright, rear guard to Vanguard. Skill, he's adding more power, so it's 28k, okay. I gonna guard of a critical trigger. 35k, the attack is blocked. I'm safe. That was rough. Alright, it's the end of my opponent's turn. My turn, stand and draw. Oh, come on, I drew another heal trigger? Seriously? Ah, come on. I ride for my ride deck, Purgatory, Dragon, Deity, Favrneel. I'm discarding. I gotta hold on to the Perfect Guard and Brainwash Swirler, so I'm just gonna ditch one of the triggers in my hand. I'm ditching a heal trigger to ride from the right deck. Purgatory, Dragon, Deity, Favrneel. Favrneel skill. My opponent's forced to retire rear guard. And Favrneel skill, I can add a card from my hand to be soul to draw 1 card. But let's just check my soul. The total number of grades in my soul now are, let's see, 2, 3, 5, and 6, and 9. Not enough. Okay, then I think I'm gonna send 1 heal trigger to my soul to draw 1 card. I draw a... Yes, Pandemonium Tactics, just what I needed. Then I'm going to call Brainwash Swirler to the rear guard. Calling over here. Swirler skill, I soul charge 1. I soul charge a grade 3, nice. Swirler skill, plus 5,000 power. And again, plus another 5,000 power. Next, I activate the order card. Pandemonium Tactics, I counterblast 1 and soul charge 4. Soul charging. Great 1, over trigger and critical. Oh, come on, my over trigger, seriously? Then now the total number of grades in my soul now are grade 2, let's see, 2, 3, 5, 6, 9, 12, 13, 14, just enough. So, okay, my brainwash swirler skill plus 5,000 power. And again, plus another 5,000 power. And again, plus 5,000 power. Keep going, another 5,000 power. Don't stop, more 5,000 power. Keep stacking the power, another 5,000 power. Again, another 5,000 power. And keep it up, another 5,000 power. And that's all, okay? That's all I can do for the time being. Go into battle phase. My Vanguard attacks the Vanguard, 13k. He guards for critical, 2 to pass. Twin drive, first check. No trigger. And second check. No trigger. Alright, the attack is blocked. Now I activate Favrneel's skill. I'm going to counterblast 2. And restand my Vanguard, -1 drive. Restand. One more time. Favrneel attacks the Vanguard, 13k. He guards with a 15k shield. None to pass. Drive check. No trigger. Brainwash Swirler. Okay, the attack is blocked. Now boosted by Brainwash Swirler. Ashura attacks the Vanguard, 43k. The attack goes through and boom, 1 damage. Damage check. No trigger, okay. And now boosted by Brainwash Swirler, my Engraver attacks the rear guard obscure lead. 43k to the rear guard. Here it comes. Boom, 1 rear guard down. Engraver skill, I soul charge 1, I soul charge a critical trigger. Swirl skill, but no longer need any more power since there's nothing more I can do, so just wasting the power effect. Okay, that's the end of my turn. Now it's my opponent's turn. Yep, that's all. So my opponent's going to Personarize. He Personarize Eva. And he deploys another set order. Experiment successful. Skill, he drops and draws. He binds my Ashura, not good. Skill of the Vanguard. Adding power. Okay. He calls Bubble Mine. Now Vanguard the Vanguard. 36k, okay. Then I'm gonna Perfect Guard with Recusal Hate Dragon. And for the Perfect Guard cost, let's see. I'm gonna discard. Gotta hold on to Brainwash Swirler and Engraver to attack and boost with, and possibly Pandemonium Tactics to soul charge more, so I'm just gonna ditch one of the front triggers in my hand. Perfect Guard. He twin drives, first check. Critical trigger, okay, he wasted a trigger. Critical and power wasted. And second check. No trigger, okay. And okay, the attack is blocked, I'm safe. And now, Bubble Mine skill, it goes to Soul, he countercharges 1. End of my opponent's turn, my turn, stand and draw. Go into main phase. Favrneel skill, my opponent's forced to retire rear guard. Nothing to retire, but I can still add power and critical to my Vanguard. Power and critical added. Next, I'm going to call Brainwash Swirler to the rear guard. Call. Swirler skill, soul charge 1. Soul Charge and plus power to my Brainwash Swirler, plus 5,000. Again, another 5,000. And one more time, another 5,000. Okay, next I'm calling the Grade 2 Selfish Engraver to my rear guard. Call. And next I'm activating the order card, Pandemonium Tactics. Oh wait, no, I can't use it since I need the 2 counter blasts to restand my Vanguard, so that's all I can do for now. Go into battle phase. First up, my Vanguard, boosted by Brainwash Swirler, attacks the Vanguard, 36k, 2 crits. And my opponent, Perfect Guards, he discards for the Perfect Guard cost, a critical, okay. Twin Drive, first check, no trigger, Perfect Guard, and second check, no trigger, Perfect Guard, not too bad. The attack is blocked, and now I activate Favrneel's skill, I counterblast 2, and restand my Vanguard, drive -1, restand. My Favrneel attacks the Vanguard, 23k, 1 drive. He guards for a Perfect Guard, he discards for the cost. A Zapokani, okay, drive check, yes, critical trigger. I give all effects to my right side Selfish Engraver. Effects added. Okay. The attack is blocked. Now boosted by Brainwash Swirler, my rear guard Selfish Engraver attacks the Vanguard from the right side, 33k, 2 crits. Yes, the attack goes through, and boom, 2 damage. First check. Critical trigger, yes, he cannot heal. Okay, all effects wasted on the Vanguard, and that's 6 damage, I win. That was rough. Even though all the triggers were working in my opponent's favor and working against me the whole fight, I still managed to use my new card skill pretty well, so I got win, attack 40,000 more power, perfect guarded, opponent double critical, 6 turns fast, did a superior call, retired 5 remote opposing units, I got 1950 VP, total 34,025 PP, press A to go next. And returning to the fight menu, okay, leaving the fight menu, return the main menu, and back to the main menu, go into edit deck menu, and okay, did so with that, the deck's been built, card effects explained, and I just finished testing out the deck in front of you, and so with that, that's all the time we have for today. First off, I want to say thank you to the viewers watching today's video, and to please stay tuned for more videos I plan to upload again in the near future. I also hope you all show your support by liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing to my videos and channel. And with that, I say goodbye and see you all soon.